when they were trying to mitigate the loss of Flammus. You know, it feels like Nemiga are constantly in this adjustment period in terms of dealing with one of their star players being lifted out of the roster, which is never a great place to be, but they've been able to keep their head above water even throughout all those changes constantly happening to them.
Yeah, very, very true. So it has been a very cool kind of streak to see Nemiga actually working their way up. For a long time, I think they had a clear ceiling as like an organization, you know, been around forever, it feels. But they are able to dip into the talent pool, as it were, and continue printing these intense fraggers. We are, of course, into the map here. TNL to start off on that T side, bit of utility bought up. We've got the 2 sets of Julies on the CT end of things.
And one of them's already gone. This is a man that we will be keeping our eye on for this series, if there is going to be a performance here from TNL as this underdog. Very loosely express it that way. Karen will be a big reason as to why they succeed. A very solid rifler. Him along Dowie will be the key focal points. Khan, here's the steps into jungle. Lear's actually taken that contact and dealt with by Cairn. Bomb dropped outside of jungle, but they've got the entries they need to, but they haven't dealt with Risky Bob until they do. Cairn clearing under Balk, Risky looking up high and gets shot on the side. Xanter's on the flank, though, quite quick.
Oh, nice find on the first. He knows the plant is around here somewhere, can't find it. Knife stays cool, and it will be TNL to pick up the pistol. I think that opening kill in particular is what nets them the control that they needed. But yes, I hadn't considered that, actually, listening to you cast there. Khan and Ken going to be a bit of a challenge at times, I'm sure. But ultimately, 2 massive names to watch on these teams as well. A lot of fun to see them go off and play head-to-head.
Yeah,
speaking of, there's, you know, not loads of experience against each other, these 2 teams.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising given that they've been kind of floating around similar rankings and both been kind of grinding through the Tier 2 circuit as much as they can, that they've only really encountered each other once this year, in early February, so... I will say it's strange, because I think people's perspective on Nemiga will be slightly shifted based on their performance at the Major. I think we saw kind of an overperformance from even players like Jouet. Xanter had a pretty solid event, but I think the biggest surprise was actually Khan, because in his online officials, sometimes seems a bit more like a liability. What just happened there? Onyx just got shot by his teammate? I think it's a little goofy, but yeah, Khan had a very good Major cycle and performed way above expectation. And if during these adjustment periods there's going to be downtrends or underperformances, it actually kind of can't come from key pieces like the AWP or even, you know, just the stability riflers and players like Xanter either.
Ooh, Dowie going down to the bomb there, bit of an oversight. I think he had retrieved that AK as well. So they've actually done a lot of damage going into the first rifle here, Nemiga. And yeah, denying some scary guns away. So I think, unfortunately, we're going to see this UMP continue. We're going to see the Galil and whatnot. So, and then also Knife, not really got as much... Okay, there is a drop across. Pardon me, but nonetheless.
I don't know if you know this, but are we playing on the new update? Because I'm wondering whether...
No.
Okay.
No, we are not. I think there was a very subtle tweet posted by like head admins and whatnot. But beyond that, we got it in the in our little admin Discord and all that sort of stuff. So, but yes, we're not on the new patch.
Okay, I just had to make sure because I imagine the change will be eventually that the CTs will start to use more UMPs, more other SMGs, probably the MP5. Wondering if Onyx just trying to get ahead of that curve. That's a very passive start to this round, isn't it? I mean, just solid mid-control for the Ts, but not actually showing that much presence. Nemiga are kind of flying blind.
Maybe that's the way that they like it at this point, I think, especially with like a lack of mid-aggression / control. I'm just happy to see how the round plays out. what the default approach looks like. Lear is in the perfect spot. He's going to have to do well from here, though. He's lost his teammates. He's onto the AK, but they're still able to get him. The UMP finds a double entry and then moves up to the AK. Risky, only good for one. So surely not going to happen here. Xanta with his prize trophy from the previous round, the MAC-10. Surely not going to be able to find too much here. Clean movement, but Dowie finds his head. It will be a third in a row for TNL.
Yeah, nice little just slow crawl into a burst through that connector smoke. I mean, they take a risk breaching the side of it towards stairs, but they have two that usher themselves in through jungle, and then the double kill from Onyx is really what just secures the round. Even if there is a little bit of almost like an over-security, because they got that entry into jungle, they thought they could plant opposite default, so they didn't have to worry about CT as much, but they were then exposed to jungle. You know, that rotate from Risky Bob actually could have swung the round quite considerably had the trade not been so rapid from TNL. So it's not the cleanest, but it's at least showing signs of minor areas they can already improve, just as we get further and further into this game. I mean, they've done a great job so far in this upper bracket, but TNL have almost always been stretched to all three maps. I imagine they would want to improve on that trend as they get deeper and closer to the idea of getting to ESL Pro League.
Utility out. Quick move towards A here, it would seem. And it should be successful. Decent damage through the smoke. I think, honestly, you maybe just hold some of the armor and whatnot into the next round. First kill comes in nice and easy. Dowie does have to be careful and overstep. Trades are here, though. And he'd done enough damage to make it easy. So TNL charging through that round. Nice little pace change.
Yeah, not setting up for a slow default, not waiting to see if Nemiga would try and do anything too gimmicky with the limited investment. Full steam ahead, and Nemiga actually weren't in great positions to address it. By the time the smokes are down, they're caught behind them. The late CT rotate, even if they try to swarm with numbers, they just simply don't have the greatest weapons. And now we look forward to a full investment once again here from Nemiga. Xanta dropping mid-floor, but doesn't actually have support. Lear was trying to link up with him from connector, but while one goes to fight mid, the other seems to retreat. So now Nemiga readjusting, not getting a whole lot from what looked to be early aggression based on the spawns. Now back to more passive play. They may fish for something here, though. TNL toying with the idea of the window boost and may opt to go for that late. The jump across, Karen trying to be very aggressive, but nothing coming of it.
Orp trained here. Can't. He's not fast enough. He does land the tag, actually. So he is fast enough. I'm sorry. I take it back. We'll see if it has an effect later on in the round. The Orp ultimately has been scared off its angle, which was the goal. Risky Bob with a risky move indeed. Khan's flicks looking good here, as he just needs one more to lock the round in. Dowie up against the entirety of this defense pretty much. The bomb dropped at their feet and surely not a chance. He's even thinking of slowly backing away. However, denied again. Khan's Orp looking good.
Yeah, I mean, nice quick shooting. The positioning in the sight is marvelous. I mean, his crosshair placement actually for the apartments players wasn't great. It wasn't optimal. I think he thought they could have already made it out, but the adjustment was marvelous. And from there on out, he just had full control of that B-bomb site. Even if he had help behind him, he had it fully contained and on lockdown. So that'll be how they get their first round. It comes off of effectively 4 lovely shots from Khan on that AWP. How replicatable will that be? How long can you actually keep that up is a whole different question. But some early signs of life from that first foray into that AWP.
Khan looking for a little bit more. He can't fire 2 bullets at once, unfortunately, and Fleerax is going to capitalize massively. Double entry for him in from short. Xanta working around all the nades. Wow. The fadeaway headshot. I think he was a bit taken aback by that as well, as he gets caught in the side. He's bought time for at least one rotation, but Lear doesn't play his part well enough. And the new addition, Swalio here to try and win out the 1v2. Not ready and gets taken down easily.
Yeah, nice stuff there from nifee finding a flurry of frags where it was ever so needed. I mean, that double kill from Xanter actually probably should have been enough to swing the round back, but Nemiga actually weren't doing a great job of linking up with each other from the rotate to the site anchors. You know, Xanter getting that kill and tucking himself into bench actually kind of should have been the play that broke TNL, because if they want to push Xanter off, if he simply tucks, and they could try and spam him, but they'd have to bridge the gap to bench, and by the time they do that, Empty and Market Window can all, you know, cover that angle on the approach. But they kind of get ahead of themselves and fall victim to nifee finding these isolated sort of pseudo entries, more like trades. So I have to say, I mean, TNL are doing a great job of punishing Nemiga, playing actually fairly separately across the map, whether it has been the way that they're approaching this CT side, you know, casting a wide net, or whether it has been just how quickly they link with each other when they're clamoring back into bomb sites. Sonic, wow, okay. Not quite careful enough. Nobody was mid, and then he gets shot in the back. Khan taking contact on B, but he's a sole defender, and so he plays position. Khan is hitting everything that shows up on his screen. A tough flick. And nifee will try his best to get them back into the round, but they start at a deficit by the time they break in B.
Holding here at the edge. The AWP finds as the smoke goes down. Fleerax remains the only one that can really get anything done. He does turn across at the right time, but still not ready. Lear will drop him. And Nemiga back in. I mean, this back and forth nature feels good, but it's going to be a pretty difficult run if TNL still have that lead to work with. So, some work required from Nemiga for sure.
Yeah, and there's a B bomb site scorecard that reads 2-1 in favor of Nemiga. They've started to hold it that one time where nifee gets a 3K, but every time they've been there, Khan has been a problem. So it may be best that they go back to what was working to higher efficiency. A, middle. Neither time did Nemiga feel like they were putting up much of a fight in those directions. And now they won't even have, you know, optimal weaponry to give it a good old college try. nifee, with that Deagle, actually trying to get ahead of the util, putting some pressure onto Xanter. But you can see it's not actually prompted any significant changes to Nemiga's setup. You're trusting Xanter wholeheartedly to deal with that one man. Oh, Khan's gonna feel a little silly that he used that HE. Oh my god, his timing is on the money. He held for so long. How does he read that so well?
I mean, that is just perfect. It's like as soon as he peaked as well. It's not like they were overstaying their welcome. So yeah, that's pretty beautiful. Maybe needed to trade that look in for a bigger round, you know, is the only thing I'd say. Yeah,
I mean, they might just think he actually had a gap around the smoke, but no, it was just all instinct.
Bit problematic here. It leaves the A bomb site vulnerable. So panic rotation in at CT. Khan misses. Swalio is out towards ramp. They're not expecting him at all. Dowie with the spin around. But there's just too many defenders to get through. No utility. You know, one smoke, something like that could have really made all the difference in this round. The Glock beats Xanter. What is happening? What is happening? I think the damage is pretty good now, though, from TNL. That's for sure.
Well, Fleerax should be dead here. Lear actually struggling on his fight. Does actually descend off the elevation at triple, and Khan will miss his shot on the AWP. A little pressure there to Lear, but he ends up with a 3K. I just have one question. You know, Risky, I understand he's, you know, considering multiple positions, but why is he looked spawn? His teammate Lear is ticket, and he got to market so that they couldn't actually flank him spawn. Why did he look spawn? That's the only reason he loses to Fleerax on the Glock. So, a bit of a silly move. Either way. Like you said, the damage is good for TNL, and they're now just thinking about how they can capitalize on that. They know that they will have put Nemiga teetering on the edge. You can see the reserve cache is not too high. And given the success that they've had in taking mid-control so traditionally, hell, even the amount of ground that they get just off of limited weapons in that round is, I guess, a greater signifier of the problems Nemiga have faced so far in CT. So how do they actually make use of that and apply pressure in those weak points?
$1 million question. What a flash. What a flash. Oh my god. Khan does not know where he is. He's still blind, even though he's dead. Brilliant stuff. And TNL with a keen advantage because of it.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even start with somebody B. They were hoping that Khan could stay on side of short and keep coverage of the apartments as well. Good kill from Xanter. It does at least make it equal. And he can now move into position where he can make up for that lost ground on that B bomb set. But he has to re-clear everything. TNL won't realize that that's a gap that could have been realized.
Ken creeping in here. The danger man of the round. Expecting big things. We got the fake. Over at B. Knife and the bomb will start to move in towards A. Risky Bob has just dropped down kind of in the nick of time. So we'll see what happens here. But they are not considering Palace at all. And a freebie comes round. And they will check their angles. Lear is here. Can he deny the bomb plant? The answer is yes. A bit of assistance from Xanter. This gets weird now. Bomb has hit the deck. There's no utility at all for TNL, in fact. So just bullets to brains. And Dowie, he got the assignment. Lear will be left in this clutch. Kit available. They know where he is, so he's just going to have to land his shots. He's sure of a triple player, but beyond that, he really does not know where to look. Beckoning the fights, but just can't win either of them. He's so close.
Man, I mean, he had the perfect read on that. He knew exactly how they were going to play it on TNL. He just, I mean, he puts Karen down to 2 HP just by spamming the edge of triple, but I mean, a great recovery and a great dismantling. And once again, Nemiga, you know, they're set up in actually quite solid positions, but it all kind of stems back to Khan losing his life on short at the very start of the round. Xanter, typically that, or was that window player, had to move to that B-bomb site, so the window boost was exposed, and that's something that TNL have been using so many different times in this game. Great HE from TNL, and it breaks down the boost idea of Nemiga immediately. Oh, Xanter's still alive. Okay, well, he isn't for very long. Took 2 HEs and survived on 1 health for only a moment. They can't even recover that 1 M4 that they buy into this round. Lear went for a hero rifle, and that's trapped in the underpass now.
Yeah, how do you feel? I feel like I had a bit of a break, right, from cast. I maybe had like 6 weeks off or something, and then the hero AK just seems to have come back, or the hero rifle, in fact, like on both sides. I don't know what happened, but now everyone seems to be doing it. I don't know how you feel about it as a concept.
Especially with people swinging more and getting more on entries. I think it's stronger in CS2 than it was in Go. But I think also people have just gotten more comfortable with suboptimal buys, just in general. You know, how many times do we see 2 MP9s, 3 rifles on a quote-unquote full buy in an important round? So why not just give it a swing? You know, the risk is fairly low. You can still get rifles out into a future buy, for example. And what, you have 1 deficit player, but you can make up for that. I like it. I guess I'm surprised at how frequent it is being used. Not every team should copy each other.
Yes, yeah, I feel that. Yeah. And no, it is interesting. We'll see though, because the MP9 has just received a nerf. Apparently still pretty good on the ground. I think like the aerial accuracy has really been nerfed, which, you know, that was a little factoid for years, you know? Yeah,
running accuracy, standing accuracy, everything has been changed. The spray multiplier has basically been tweaked. I think they've given it 2 more to the 30... I think it was like 37 to 39 multiplier. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but every spray should be slightly nerfed on the MP9, but we're not on that patch, allegedly, right? So
no, well, this is true. I'm just sort of theory crafting a little bit, I guess, for the future to see if the Hero AK sticks around.
Yeah, but with the extra money, now people are just going to get UMPs.
Well, yeah, true. Very true. So, we'll see. It's going to be an interesting time. I like the changes. You know, it might not be perfect or whatever, but they are changes. They keep the game interesting and fresh, and I think that if they don't work, Valve should tweak little bits and pieces. But
Yeah.
it shows they're paying attention, which is always nice, you know. Dad has come back from the shops with the milk.
Yeah, maybe. Might be a little expired. As may this round be as well. 5-on-3 immediately from the exec from TNL. Nemiga is continually struggling, actually, to defend this A bomb site. It's really been B where the major successes have lie. And given that they have these two AWPs, they came in with a limited buy themselves with that MP9, and everyone's wounded. Bar risky, it's a call to save. No problems whatsoever. TNL actually ran a slower round this time. Mid, didn't really find anything aside from that opening kill to short. And then in the reset, Nemiga once again are just always a step behind. We have not seen them go aggressive on CT one time. And now they have one more round to play it out.
Yeah. It does make you curious. I think it feels like they are maybe just rolling through the motions. I don't know. Not their favorite map is all I can maybe put it down to. They just don't seem to have too much originality here, and it is a weird sort of map as well, where players will have lots of experience on Mirage just because of the nature of its life in Counter-Strike. But as a team, they're maybe just not as well drilled. We do have the double AWP setup once again. That seems to be what they've changed up. There's also 2 AWPs out for TNL. I think maybe some spawn-based moves, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's an AK waiting at spawn.
Fight fire with fire. And you were right, there is a spare AK hovering around. Onyx gone and swapped that out. And FlyRX has waited so long on B to try and get that kill, and he doesn't succeed. Karen, perfect peek. It was a double setup lower, and oh my god, Khan is dying to util. Karen has played that picture perfect. I mean, it was a pixel-specific peek to get Lear, and then he just never gave Khan anything to shoot at. What a hero. I mean, genuinely, just nice, concise CS gameplay from Karen.
Love to see it. Is there any way back into this round for Nemiga? Now becomes the question. Swallow has found information, so they will be ready for the A hit. At least in theory, but whether they're able to put up the numbers is, of course, another question. He's on the flank, but he's also very low. He's going to need his teammates to pull something out of the bag, and I mean a lineup double kill 2 for 1 is most certainly what he was asking for. He's going to find FlyRX. That'll be the ramp hit. Killed off. Knife gets 1, but he's traded quick. Dowie now reveals his location as well with only 9 seconds remaining to get the bomb and get the plant. They don't have to move. Just post up, and the time will do the rest. A swing from Sualio just to kind of confirm it in, but that will be an unlikely fall from Nemiga, thanks to the double AWP setup. Absolutely insane. We'll see you in a few.
A commanding half from Team Next Level on their map pick in the series. They show us exactly what they're made of on that T side, but I don't exactly think Nemiga made them work too hard for it. A lot of very passive play, constantly reacting. They're going to have to be the ones that now set that tempo here on this T side effort, and all eyes will be on Sawalio. He has big shoes to fill in Jue being called up to Team Spirit. They need to get better production out of him. He's had a pretty poor CT half. Hoping to make up for it on the T side.
Onic holding. Oh, nearly going to lose his head. He lives a little longer, but not too much. Still, he was a utility mule, I suppose. So they will be able to retrieve that at the very least. Deep smoke coming in. Maybe I speak too soon. The spam here from the Glock appears effective. 5-on-3, low HP bars. Dotted in, and I feel like you just don't really have an avenue into this site, so they will indeed save that all-important armor and see what they can find in the next.
Yeah, I mean, they actually didn't pick up the smoke that was next to the kit, but just because of that deep smoke that Nemiga throw on the hit, the fact they have that still loaded in the back pocket after they take spawn, yeah, I mean, it cuts out the round completely for TNL. They can't wait 20 seconds while they know that there are so many Ts to deal with close to the smoke as well. So fantastic entry there from Sawalio that just breaks open the bomb site, and he'll even find one on the hunt too. That's exactly what you want to see out of what could be pegged to be the next star of Nemiga. And with those early signs of life towards the end of the, or I guess the late signs of life rather, from Nemiga at the end of last half, able to run into this second half with what should be an advantage. Team Next Level are force buying straight into it. See if they can cause an upset, but yeah, I've yet to see any of the force buys really threaten all too much this game. Oh, the problem is that they've gone with the force buy, and they are stacking a bomb site with it. And Nemiga currently aren't headed into that stacked bomb site.
I feel like, well, not every, that might be a bit much, but like 80% of stacks that I see are just on the wrong bomb site. To be honest. Whether it's like hard eco, force buy like this. But I do respect it. TNL going for something creative, which I like to see when you've got a force buy out. Especially something like this. You've got so much automatic weaponry. If they walk into that trap, then indeed, you know, you've got a good chance of mowing them down.
Yeah, and you called the wrong 50-50 this time, but in the next round, provided Nemiga don't take these weapons out of your hands, or you know, you still give yourself the same sort of fighting opportunity in the following round. So I've always liked the stack into save call in general, just because I feel like it extends the life of the weapons, and what is effectively a risky investment now gives you a it's a percentage play, but it increases your percentage of actually causing an upset in one of the two rounds that you have the weapons. So, I mean, Nemiga make the right call. I do think you're maybe suffering from some confirmation bias as to, you know, every time the stack is called, it's on the wrong bomb site, because there have been many times where I've seen the right stack in the right site as well, so...
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. And I'm not, like, registering it when it is on the right bomb site.
You're just thinking, oh my god, how have they fallen into that trap?
Again!
Yeah. Why didn't they send someone to scout first?
Yeah.
Well, they have called the stack again, and it is again the wrong bomb site, so maybe I'm the one suffering from confirmation bias.
You've just not been noticing in the same way I have. Yeah.
They surely don't contact straight into B 2 times in a row.
yeah, right. Oh, man. But this is it. Sometimes you have a bit of fun with the calls. Just, you know, back to the well, man. Keep seeing if it'll work. When you mix it, I don't know if you've seen the Northern Lion video. This is a bit of a niche internet reference I'm about to hit you with. But, you know, the, like, baseball clip or whatever.
Wait. This actually is still on.
Oh, wait. Yeah, we are. We are on. Onic, surely got to find that one. Sawalio has traded back here, but there's the MP9 up close. The bomb's too far ticked, unfortunately. The spray down from behind looks to make money, but the round will go against him. And for me, it was Onic. He had someone in his crosshairs, and he just missed the shot. And that makes all the difference. Goodness me. Nemiga, very lucky.
Yeah, they still had a kit as well that they saved over from the pistol rounds. So, I mean, especially with them going in, you know, with that bomb having elapsed half of its duration, it's not as if they couldn't have found the kills they needed. And yeah, you're right. You know, that potential kill there from Onic where Nemiga players were just not watching the bench angle, that should have been a gimme. And that probably was the round with it, but again, that was the save from the prior round 4, so now a full gun round. AWP out for Flyrax. A quick short jump made by Dowie. Kind of ahead of the incendiary inside of the apartments as well, so it will be an AWP that seems to want to probe into this B bomb site, but Nemiga aren't actually committing to this B idea. They're simply fishing for an opening. They recognize as well that it's likely a solo man, but that short player is drifting over to provide some support.
Onic. Having a look. I think he's waiting for an impatient T player to walk his way. Not going to get that at this point. Knife on a slightly overzealous swing. Got to watch out. Flyrax also getting pushed away. So Nemiga positionally looking very, very good. Little bits of control, getting areas of territory, and therefore giving themselves a lot of options.
I mean, they're applying a lot of pressure, but they're actually not getting the ground they want here. They are going to now congregate back to this B bomb site round the back of this smoke, but at that 40-second mark, those two B players are playing quite close to each other, and that can catch Nemiga out if they're not too careful.
Dowie below the window here. They've got the deadly crossfire set up. An absolute Mirage classic, and they are struggling to get the angle that they want. Onic gets bored and moves forwards to try and take some kills of his own. He will be traded out, but he's the first one to fall for the CT side with only 10 seconds left on the clock. Surely not going to happen here, Sualio knows, and the AK save into the next round, once again, seems like the only option.
Okay, yeah, I was not sure if Lear was actually going to be given a chance to hear Karen on that rotate, but he survives with his weapon, so AWP saved over, AK as well. And because of the fact that, you know, second swing at the force buy for TNL did so much damage, actually, Nemiga's money is not great, considering they walked into an empty site 2 rounds in a row. So those 2 saved weapons, and a couple of Galils brought up around it, as well as a Deagle. TNL are in kind of prime position, actually, should they win this round, to set themselves up for it was likely to be a simple enough 11 rounds. It's a big if, though. They do need to win this one. Flyrax already holding towards top middle above the con smoke. You can see that con is round the corner, but Sualio has a flash primed. Flash won't do anything to deter this. Oh, Flyrax just a missed shot. Should have been a simple enough connection. And now a statement of intent here for Nemiga. Resmoke into window.
Oh. Risky Bob forced away. Was he heard there, I suppose is the question. Kango's looking. He will be tagged up, taken down eventually by the AWP of Ken, who is trained in. We've got this AUG out. What can he do with it? First one comes in. That's a bomb drop as well. So looking good here as TNL with their lead under threat once again. Have the 2-man advantage, make it 3, down to just Risky Bob. He's got to recover the bomb and recover the round, but surely not. The AWP of Flyrax, after a difficult first miss, will recover the round. So, well, sort of adjusted in his personal game there.
Yeah, he's not actually finding a great amount of success from these con peaks. We had a previous round where he was looking underpass, also missed his shot, this time top middle. A failure, but when he's rotating into the action and picking them off as they progress into sites, finding a lot of success. So maybe it needs to be less of that static AWPer and a bit more mobile if we want to see this AWP sing. Full Glocks here for Nemiga, and the early nades look like they could have done more damage. Once again, Nemiga are continuing on these defaults, even in a round where they have no investment, to just keep these B players on their toes.
Man coming in from downstairs. He does get mollied at this point. But Lear, I think, is trying to draw some attention.
Ugh.
He'll definitely get it. A healthy nade sends him 6 feet under. And I think they were hoping for just a little more action and then, you know, swing out from top mid, maybe catch a guy in the side of the head. But it's not going to be the case now. They've got an AWP to get through, and he is nice and patient, nice and warm. Man downstairs once again is spotted, and it's just Xanta remaining. The AUG scoped in does worry me slightly, but it's all good in the end. Nemiga then, pretty tough run back now required.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what they do. They've been trying to press B a number of times, and, you know, I imagine part of that is spurred on by the fact that TNL have very traditionally been playing pretty far off of short. The B player is isolated. You know, coming into this map, I imagine Nemiga would have known that that was the case, and, you know, especially when you think about the players you'd have to combat should you go towards that A bomb site. It's kind of the key problem pieces in, you know, Dowie, Fleerax, Cairn. Those are the A defenders very typically. It's not an easy task. And they've not even found success in hitting the weaker site. So may have to have used that timeout to discuss a different approach.
Quiet start here. Just the mid-smokes coming out. TNL not afraid to give up that control. And this is an A setup that I see sort of more and more, really. They will break it apart as it goes on and have a check towards mid as the smokes go down. But as we can see, it does look to be a little bit of a separated attack as well. So Nemiga, again, I think hoping that one of their star players, one of their lurking players can catch someone off. And it is Fleerax who gets restless.
Yeah, I thought he had time to jump up and take that angle, which has actually been held by Nemiga in a number of rounds before. But his timing is wrong, so as is Knife as well. But Dowie in from Sandwich gets the instant double. Just as they lose a player inside of the site, Dowie makes sure it doesn't get out of hand. They even spot him playing close to that smoke, and so Risky can find that trade back onto him. Cairn sneaking past the smoking connector, though. These plays are just too damn devastating. It's Cairn that survives. Last man standing with a pivotal triple.
Looking good. TNL up to map point first. Nemiga, they had a bit of something about them at the start of the half, but TNL have come alive. And again, Nemiga, I think we talked about it a bit at the halftime break, just letting the rounds happen to them. And there's not as much of that get up and go within this team. So you do worry a little bit. We have Dust2 coming up next, but it's a healthy map for both of them. So Nemiga going to have to completely shift going into that one if they want to stay alive here and indeed secure their place in the grand final, but looking to stay alive on Mirage itself. And before I can really even get the words out, the round looks over to me. Lear, 1 versus 4 required. Consolation kills at this point. He will go down, and that is a 13-7 easy cleanup for TNL.
Yeah, I mean, a marvelous map from start to finish. I mean, 22 kills from Dowie. I mean, such a considerable effort across the board, really, from the Team Next Level side. And like you said, it just felt like Nemiga were constantly, effectively 50-50 duels around the map, whether that's fights to middle or, you know, aggression to the lower tunnels on that CT side. Long spawns are always a big conversation point. Whether or not you can go for, you know, more deep, short setups alongside mid presence. There's a number of different ways that you can kind of force your way into duels and actually threaten what is, you know, a map that has actually typically been plagued by staging issues. You know, every T-side round kind of feels the same with the way that people default mid-control into a B or an A side split. We are really hoping that Nemiga pull their socks up coming into this second map because they need to set the tone, and they're setting that tone on B.
Yep, charging in fast. The Julie's close to a kill, but not quite. That is the yin and yang of that weapon. It could have eliminated the entire team rushing through that smoke, but as it is, he just couldn't land the all-important opening headshot. And they're going to back away. I think they maybe just hand this across by the looks of things. Yep, that is going to be the case. So, sticking around. Onyx got no armor to save. That's his logic here. Try and get some kill bonus, but the round will be Nemiga's.
Yeah, unfortunately for Flyrax, and actually something that kind of annoys me when people go for bursting executes is that sometimes that first player doesn't jump out of a smoke or jump out on the entry because Flyrax, that first contact he had was on that jumping player. I mean, that's a very hard shot to hit, and like you said, it was the key kill he needed in order to even get his one, but he more than likely would have been traded because of the difficulty of the shot. So, nicely done there from Khan to create that space. And Nemiga getting off to a very nice opener. Once again, the rounds that Nemiga were winning, funnily enough, on Mirage, didn't feel that scary at any given point. You know, Khan's defense is on B, pretty good. The contact plays Nemiga ran, just empty bomb sites. This time all it takes is one kill, and the round comes with it. Now TNL will invest, going with the immediate force buy, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of that stacking decision that they went with on Mirage. But you are expecting Flyrax to give it a peep in mid with that scout. That's actually being very aggressive down middle.
Okay, yeah, could get a bit weird over there. Big nade damage as well. So even if the Deagle, he dies. I was going to say, even if he doesn't get any kills, if he could take some HP bars lower, it becomes a very troublesome round for Nemiga. But I'm still looking at this nade damage, man. We've got a scout in here as well. Oh, I thought he landed the headshot. I think the X-ray went off for a second. Either way, looking for a few more here. Gonna land some tags. No kills as yet. Nemiga just taking it slow, ready for the aggression to come towards them. It's only one kill, still got MP9s in play. They're so low. Onyx, 3 bullets need to land here. Many different targets. And maybe he tries to go for a cheeky headshot. The Molotov going to force him into action as well, so they will know about him now. And he's left low himself, and he cannot even get a single shot off. Goodness me, that is very, very, very tight stuff from Nemiga.
Yeah, I mean, so scary for the fact that all 5 of them coming up long were so low health by the time they're having to fight this MP9 on the bomb site. That was kind of teed up to be a multi-kill. The fact they have that Molotov still available for Gandalf as well is a big, big savior for them. If not, I do think Onyx comes away with 1 or 2 kills, and, you know, whether or not he can fully clutch out the round wasn't too far out of his grasp. But TNL, that force buy does not succeed, and it will just be a steamrolling into B here for Nemiga. Easy enough kill for Risky. Flyrax is going to try and take a timing around this smoke, it looks like. He has reinforcements. There's a flash lined up here by Karen.
It's not really effective enough for my money, but they're still getting the kills. Okay, hold on. That got a bit more costly than I was expecting. So some really needlessly close rounds in places from Nemiga. Therefore, TNL in with a really good chance of just breaking the back of this team, closing the gap exponentially.
Yeah, I do like that when they go for that full save, they invest in some flashbangs. Always a massive proponent of that particular decision. And yeah, even from the perspective of those CTs, they'll know that there's still money in the back pocket for another buy, but they need to win 2 straight should they break the money of Nemiga. Sawalio, full blind, gets his entry and the follow-up too. But there's a 3rd round that smoke. Knife, a precision incision, and a quick escape. Can fall back into the bomb site, so it's not as bad as it could have started. It was an open 2 for nothing. Now 2 for 1.
Orp creeping forwards, trying to hold the line for the contact here. Knife is kind of in the perfect spot. Flash ineffective. Peeks around for one and evens up the numbers. The Orp misses its opportunity and misses its flick, which is kind of fair enough, but there's enough carnage going on here that they're able to get a little closer to the action. Molotov forces Dowie back. He's going to give up the angle, so that leaves his teammates kind of isolated, right? The numbers now not favoring them. Down to a 2-on-2 overall. Knife has sold the Orpa down the river. Meanwhile, speaking of, Khan gets caught off. Lear doesn't know where to look, and Dowie actually takes him. I thought maybe Knife would creep up. Not the case. Either way, TNL on the board.
Yeah, they were shadow boxing. They had no idea where TNL had repositioned off to. I mean, one around the back of that long smoke. They get into a 2-on-2, but they just are expecting some pressure to come up from short. A player to maybe even jump up the boxes from CT. Only for them to be a lot closer than Nemiga realized. So, a nice adjustment. Good way to break in. Lyrax actually looking to press the issue. Xbox Smoke, he slides his way into the lower tunnels, but he's doing so unsupported. Good kill. And we'll use that smoke to great effect as well to guise his escape. About as clean an opener as you could want. Now Eagle will play some catch-up. Khan has a chance, but just cannot hit the adjustment.
Living, to say the least. Nade in. Not a lot of damage. MP9 is close. Onic is just begging for a flash, but there isn't one available, so he's going to have to back off. Lyrax, meanwhile, getting another in the upper tunnels. They are not respecting that CT AWP right now. Too many lazy peeks here. Lear going to go charging through the Molotov. He's by himself. Calm spray down, but Dowie just cannot find the head. So all of a sudden, it's a 3-on-3. Onic, though, he's been waiting for this time to shine, and Khan will drop him. All round long, he was just so excited to get in behind. It's not going to happen, and it has fallen apart. Lyrax with the easiest two-piece of the game so far, and they just cannot do anything with it.
Yeah, I mean, a 5-on-3 that's all spurred on by him, and then the rest of his team just seemed to die, get slaughtered on that A-bomb site. That is quite upsetting. You know, Lyrax's positioning was great. He took a gamble, a bit of a risk in the lower tunnels, but by the time he takes up B, he got there at the perfect time. He's done everything he could, but he needed his riflers to stand their ground. Or at the very least, just not die. But good move from Lear. You know, getting ahead of that short Molotov. You know, breaking and creating space. TNL were 100% caught off guard.
Into a timeout.
This is what we wanted to see from Nemiga, though. A little bit of setting pace. Sure, that round they're playing a little slower, and there was a number of chances either way. But they are kind of forcing TNL as well to make some uncomfortable moves, and even if Lyrax is getting away with those moves, it's only one player that seems to be active at any given point for TNL.
All right. Let's see. TNL, I think, kind of going to be kicking themselves. Not the cleanest of starts here. The double nade. It's a lot of damage, but they need a kill off the back of it, really. So they will be a little disappointed. Lyrax tagged up also by a nade. Is there anything on the other side of this point of no return? Risky Bob. It's all a timing thing here for him, really. The AWP is now trained. He has to be very careful. He knows that. Got a good sense of his timing here. Takes Onic, and he drops back. So very well played by Mr. Bob.
Yeah, I saw what weapon Lyrax had in, or the second player had in his possession. So no, it's that AWP that was saved over last round. Karen, lovely dig, but aim punch will get the better of him close to those doors. They're still funneling towards this AWP though. This could still get scary.
got to watch themselves. Oh, Fleerax, man. Felt like he didn't even have to adjust to find that kill. He's able to briefly make it out, but they are after him. They're looking for like a triple swing here. He does well to even find one, but it's very calmly controlled there from Nemiga. So number 5 is just over the lip. Interested to see what nifee is going to do. He's got an M4. Will he save it into the next round? Or try and have a look in? It's kind of 50-50. He's on the active exits, we like to call these.
Yeah, I've talked to T-Time about this as well. You know, the idea of exits and the kills they get. You know, sometimes they get a bad rap for being non-impactful. Sometimes players are just too damn good at getting exit kills that it does inflate their statistics, but it's sort of a conditional positive. Where even in losing efforts, if you're getting exit kills, provided you end up winning rounds further down the stretch, it's sort of that's the condition being fulfilled. You know, the exits then become a positive. Even if they don't have an influence on the rounds that have already played out, they can tee you up for success in future moments, but it's a conditional. And so, until that condition's fulfilled, sometimes exits will just be seen as a problem if a player has too many. I've obviously ended up empty-handed, but just a fun little thought exercise.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is cool to kind of dig into that side of the game. You know, and there's this thing where, like, we look at it from a very analytical and statistical sort of standpoint and percentages and all this sort of thing. But players just have that innate belief in themselves as well, that they're going to land the shots. And obviously you need that if you are going to make it at any kind of level of the game. So that also, I feel, is a factor that we know is there, but sometimes just don't quite consider, and then like, oh, why didn't they just back off or save or whatever, you know? Can't hear though. Looking for an entry. Gonna get it. Fleerax drops early, and I think that leaves the A-bomb site kind of unwinnable in a sense. They're so far away right now. They do have the long presence. That's about all they've got going for them. And you can see TNL maybe going to have a look in, but they're kind of reluctant. A couple of their players, I think, wanted to just stay away here.
Yeah, I don't think they even go for it. I mean, they have no flashes, no smokes. They have nothing that can dislodge or displace, especially with that fresh smoke on short. They kind of need a flash if they're going to try and breach that position, so this could be just a call to do as much damage on the exit as possible. You see them setting themselves up over it long, where Nemiga are likely to try and deposit their weaponry. They can also just retreat to short, because they know that that area is safe. All it takes is one kill, and Nemiga get another round. That's kind of a shame, though, for Fleerax. He's isolated on that A-bomb site. He hears utility coming. He's expecting a rifler to just swing wide. That's why his crosshair is, you know, not holding a tighter angle. But for Khan to lead the way on the AWP, that just throws off his expectations entirely. He's not, you know, he's kind of forecasting what his next inputs are going to be. He's expecting to just click. Instead, he had to flick and click as well. Oh, well, this time, Khan caught lazing around, jumping in middle. Fleerax will happily take an opener like that.
Yeah, Fleerax in the recent rounds feels like he's been relatively impactful. Maybe has heard all these steps as well towards short. Not quite sure. He might just have been out of range. All the same, he's got more action coming his way. Edge of the smoke. Might even go back in for a little re-peek here. Up short, meanwhile, we've got Lear trying to be the hero, so he might just have to pull off a miracle. He's tagged down low to begin with. Ken looking not to throw this opportunity away, and indeed will be rewarded. Fleerax continues having a round as he's got 3 all the kills for TNL thus far, and I think he's maybe done enough to net them a second.
Oh, yeah, that headshot onto Xanter. This is probably a save call if they can find a proper place to hide. Once again, lovely shooting from Fleerax. And a great rotate to that A-bomb side as well. You could see what Lear was up to. He was playing around the edges of the smoke. He's actually doing a great job of dodging both the actual A defenders, but in doing so, he had to play so close to the ledge so that the CT rotate in Fleerax could see him. So if that rotate didn't come in, there actually was a way back into the round for Nemiga. And it's kind of the AWP or bust, it feels like, for TNL. Fleerax seems to be the only one that's kind of coming away with clean opening duels. And this will be his second multi-kill. This time, an actual round win with it, though.
Yes, which has got to be a nice feeling for him, I think. Because so much effort in that sort of previous multi-frag round from him, and it just never came off. TNL going to have to do something with this, though. Nemiga already up to 6. I think you want to keep them on that as much as you can. 7, maybe. But ideally, a run of rounds now. Khan taking it easy. Certainly could have rung off a shot there. There was 2 players jumping, but I think he was waiting for an AWP peek to come his way instead. All the same, long presence now from Nemiga. Lower presence from TNL. There's his first kill going to come in. The break of the smoke. Dynamic that has become better and better and better as CS2 has gone on.
Yeah, it almost felt like nifee actually didn't even need to stand up there. Just had to wait for the smoke to bloom, but he was not expecting the one on the corner to get undressed by the HE. Little jump spot there from Khan. Actually sees a player in spawn. Onyx as well, trying to set himself up at car. Oh, wow, that's maybe why nifee didn't crouch behind the car. Onyx just gets spammed straight through it. 2 entries, same position. TNL down to 3, and just as the smoke blooms, Karen is taken down to half HP. Can't even really escape. No, he wins his duel and plays back again. They're getting shot through these smokes. They are not even seeing the players that are killing them. And now Karen, 1-on-3, half health. Has to be gifted an opener back into this round, lest this just be another save call.
Yeah, really not what they wanted here, man. It's going from bad to worse for TNL. I think unless things can change quickly, we might be looking at the third map a little prematurely, in fact. Ken actually going for this. Takes 1. He's far too low to go for anything more, so it will have somewhat of an effect. Makes life easier while they're on this comeback train, but man, you got to string rounds together. I don't really care about the odd exit that gives you a tiny advantage if realized, you know? Like, they just need to find some consistency.
Yeah, I think that was just a sort of a vibe check attempt there from Karen. There are certain moments when you get into clutches. I know I see this in, you know, pugs. I even see it at tier 1, at the tier 1 level, where if you're getting instant headshots as you go for a retake attempt, the vibes are good. And so they'll give it a good old try. But you're right, you know, since he took that tag and he didn't find an instant headshot, vibes bad, save call. But I imagine the vibes are just pretty bad in general here for TNL. They knew exactly what was coming their way. They knew that long had been taken. They knew what they wanted to do, get the block smoke over at long, reposition players away from car, maybe set up for a late flash, but every time they tried to set up for the first part of their adjustment, they just lose a player.
Nades out here. Double AWP setup for TNL.
They're hoping that's the fix.
Oh, maybe it is. Fleerax with a keen find. He, again, has, you know, continued looking pretty damn good. Onyx individually is maybe hoping that's the fix as well. He is yet to frag.
Anything's better than what he's been doing, I suppose. Well, that would be the hope. Now we're toying with the idea of maybe going with a timing peak alongside nifee, but hoping that nifee takes first contact, so not looking to challenge those players making their way slowly up short. Well, this is looking decent here for TNL, but they are again fairly separated, and Dowie doesn't, or rather, Onyx doesn't actually have any flashes that can help support this A player, but Karen, timely smoke, finds the opener, and Fleerax as well is just not missing a beat. So Alio on the lurk to B just gets picked apart once again, and Nemiga are once again in a position where they have 2 survivors, but not a whole lot of ground to work with. This is likely another save decision. TNL keep them at bay.
Yeah, just at that danger zone as well in terms of the scoreline. So I'd say decent signs that they're able to immediately return. Yes, still they haven't strung any together, but it's not like they're just 1 round and then losing 3 and then 1 round losing 3. They do understand the pressure here. Nemiga playing a pretty good game, but not quite in that position of clear victory. So also going to have to go back to the drawing board to just keep TNL at arm's length.
Yeah, it's just kind of mental that, you know, the rounds that TNL have won, I mean, 2 of them have been pretty much solely spurred off the fact that Fleerax has gotten a multi-kill with that AWP. It does seem like the most consistent win condition that TNL actually have on the CT side. So you can certainly understand why Fleerax is trying to be so active with all these deep peaks, the changing of his position. Some of that will be spawn-based, but also, I imagine, a bit of minor forecasting given the difficulties his teammates have been experiencing around the map. And should his consistency carry on through this game, I don't imagine TNL are going to be a slumber the further we get into Dust 2. Expecting them to wake up and contribute in more meaningful ways as well. Fleerax went for a blow on the Xbox smoke and repositioned to spawn, swapping positions with Dowie. You can see the extra hesitation from Nemiga. They know how active this AWP has been. And they've actually been doing a lot of contacting into spots, whether that's been up to short, the lower tunnels, upper tunnels. They've not been throwing flashes and then swinging alongside it, kind of forecasting where that AWP could be.
Fake out at mid.
Yeah, left and right smokes. TNL will be flying fairly blind. Real pressure is going to come towards long.
Not biting, though. Not panic rotating, necessarily. I mean, they're leaving this quite late as well to try and get the control. Couple flashes. We'll see the AWP over at short stands strong. A difficult angle to clear. And the flashes weren't effective enough. Ken comes in to help his teammate out. And this is a flat attack, if ever I saw it. Sowolio, the new guy, will try and keep it together. But unfortunately not going to happen for him. And TNL continue closing the gap.
Yeah, I mean, great 1-2 punch there between Knife and Karen over at long. I mean, Knife taking that contact, Karen playing around the edge of the corner smoke. Like you said, TNL were in actually pretty good positions to lock down that A-bomb site, but the fact that Fleerax actually got aggressive into Dragon or close to short and found that opener as well, it just takes all the wind out of the sails of the Nemiga attack. And now Fleerax just challenging down mid. Khan had a scout in his possession. That will hit the deck immediately, and Fleerax ain't done with just one.
Oh. He's looking for a little more. He's looking for the tippity top of the head, but not accurate enough for that. They are now pushing him down. He maybe has bitten off a bit too much. His teammate goes down as well. Ken, with the slow rotate in, trying to catch them. He catches one, but he may get caught himself. The backup is here. Ken going to have to stand very strong. It lets Lear reset the game. He knows that there is a player in behind as well, but he's incredibly low himself. Smoke down, creeps for the bomb. And Knife watching tentatively. as to where he might make an appearance. It is going to be B. It is going to be the clear and obvious path. Still, though, 8 HP just doesn't feel like enough.
Yeah, Lear just had so much time to reposition with that smoke. He could have taken the spawn. He could have walked through it to the upper tunnels. He does go with the easiest route, but Knife tried to get ahead of it and took the wrong side. But health is definitely in Knife's favor.
Slow creep in. Lear hidden away. Knife gonna now start making noise. Yeah, just can't get the headshot. And there's a kit available, so it's not too difficult in the end. Knife makes the 1v1 look easy. They string it back. They absolutely needed that. 7-5. Will it be enough for Nemiga? We'll find out soon.
Team Next Level digging deep towards the end of that half, finding 5, and a lot of it spurred off the back of the success of Fleerax. I've been getting that one wrong a number of times, but he's been right on the money with that AWP. Nemiga succeeded with a B play on their pistol. Team Next Level are going to try the same, but the dualies are finding way more success. Soalia with 2. The flash timing was perfect from Lear, but he's now taking a headshot and has to wait for his teammates to come and reinforce. Onyx on a lurk in the mid doors, though, and this fight could just swing the round in its entirety. But Onyx doesn't have armor, so has to hit the instant headshot. It's a tough kill to wrangle, but he manages it. And now there shouldn't be much fight left in Nemiga. Khan trapped between a rock and a hard place, and that hard place is going to push him in from behind. Team Next Level break in with the pistol and can look to tie things up.
Yeah, continuing the streak, as it were, and looking very, very good while doing so. So we're going to find out if Nemiga have got the energy required to take this one over the line. TNL have broken them apart in the past. Only 4 rounds now, so it's not mental, but certainly looking to have found a second win themselves. You know, there was a world in which it became a very one-sided affair. Nemiga, all too easy for them. And listen, man, I don't want to say I told you so, but look what's happened.
Hey, they're on USPs this time. It's not quite the same. But, yeah, I am hashtag noticing.
Yeah. Just, you know, might have to start a little Excel spreadsheet. Keep a tally. I think last year, Neo had a bit of a force buy thing going. And how effectively they came off, and ultimately CT force buys especially weren't good. Maybe I go for the stacks, the CT stacks. Either way, they do meet in the end, and it's no real difficulty for TNL, as you would expect.
Yeah, surely you don't need to run a tally. You just get like a stats program of some kind that can parse all those demos for you. In fact,
listen,
let
that's
the
your
let
department.
the robot do the tallying.
Yeah, I'm not a big stats guy, you know. So that's your department. Maybe I could get you on retainer to do it for me or whatever.
See, I'm not really much of a stats guy either, but occasionally I'll find one and it's pretty good. Oh my god. As is that from Risky. I mean, just fishing through that smoke, tapping the edges of it and finds the head of Nifee, but it takes a lot of damage in response, down to 7 health. First gun round here for Nemiga starts off with an opener, and they can reset into a 3-2 split between the two sites.
Onic, caught out in no man's land. Dowie, however, not really considered. Keeping the numbers a little doable, but still not looking ideal. It's Ken who's found 2 in all this carnage. Bomb going to go down. It's the rotational players they've now got to deal with. So, this could be scary. This could be very scary indeed. Risky Bob, insanely low. No utility. No kit. I think Ken should be able to hold the line nicely. Oh, whoa, that's so awkward. And Sawalio comes in. They just didn't think about short at all. He's got to be a bit careful picking up utility. The bomb was slightly close, but all the same, that's wild.
Yeah, I can't believe they completely disregard it. They take contact to spawn, and no one looks to see where the second player could be. They're not revealing themselves at long. Pulling out a Molotov when you're exposed to...
Yeah, just...
that second fight is, yeah, a massive oversight. And Sawalio punishes, you know, wanted to see more out of him given the shy performance he had on Mirage. And he's had a fair few rounds where he's come away with some pretty solid impact. Even in the pistol, even if he got 2 kills. He put his team in a position where they could have swept it up, even if they didn't.
Oh, they look a bit close. Not quite landing, but he's about the level you need to be. Slow contact up short here. Something a little different. Something we've not really seen too much of. Dry swinging in. Goodness me. They were hoping for only 1 player, but this must be a TNL classic because Nemiga, they had many bodies on the other side of it. They were incredibly ready for that, but totally dry. Once again, a few questionable decisions here from the next level.
Yeah, they get chewed up and spat out. Nemiga, like you said, had 2 players in position on short. They even had a 3rd coming on the MP9. So as one reloads, another takes its place. Yeah, it's a big risk to take it if you're TNL. Going in with that buy and just using the Xbox smoke. Sure, you dodge the verbal harassment of Risky Bob down middle, but then they get shown what real harassment's like. And it's not good. Someone get HR on the line.
Well, indeed. Fella named Risky Bob, you know? Feels like one of the guys of all time. Either way, low buyout here from TNL. Maybe just slipping through their fingers a little bit. The game plan has not been as effective once the actual half, you know, the meat and potatoes of Counter-Strike has gotten going. And thus, Nemiga in prime position to knock on the door to that third.
Yeah, minimizing casualties will be a big thing here for Nemiga. TNL have, I think, kind of struggled to show consistency in performance. Only one that's really been consistently stepping up to that plate has been Fleerax. You know, Karen's had a fair few moments as well. You can see them both tied up at 16 kills a pop for the squad, but after that, you know, it does seem to sort of drop off a cliff. It's a nice kill from nifee, playing with those double doors, but shouldn't really get too much more out of it. Position's accounted for, weapon can be safeguarded, it's too deep inside of mid. There is actually only one player in defense of this A bomb site. Khan on that AWP misses his shot, and he does not have help coming too quick. Lear in urgency does get taken down. nifee up close and personal, and that low health of Khan comes back to bite him. Xanter was on the heels of nifee this entire time. Incendiary down on the plan, and he shouldn't be able to get anything more. That's a lot of mileage out of just one dig. The damage from nifee is significant.
It is true. I would have loved to see him just hold that plant, right, and get a return on the investment, sort of make life easier into this follow-up round. I think he potentially, yes, you're in the clutch, and as you say, going off the vibes, but he maybe got a bit greedy for that third kill. Perhaps that's just me. All the same, to give the positives, yeah, it is a lot of damage. And maybe something that could just spur him forwards on an individual level. See ya. See ya. Never mind. He's gone.
Yeah, that has to be another thing to tally up, is how many times someone comes away with a pretty nice play in a round prior and gets humbled in the next. That's also something that seems to happen fairly frequently. Such a predetermined move there from Nemiga to push towards top middle like that. TNL were not considering that. Even if they held deep angles, you know, you might hold the right angle, but whether or not you actually forecast it is a whole different ballgame. Timely smoke on short as well, just as TNL were hoping to take contact. So they will be stalled. Now, they don't have a lot of utility left here for that T side. Usually when you get to taking short and toying with rotations and trying to engage in multiple threats, you want at least 2 to 3 smokes, so you could throw a mid B, get this lurk smoke out, maybe even get another smoke on that B bomb site, but you know, just that one lurk smoke, and a couple of flashes, they'll have to break in with just the bare minimum.
Dowie, though, looking good as they drop down something a little harder to catch. Santa's still here, however. He's the one player that might just save the round. Fleerax, can't find him, looking to confirm the bomb plant. He is going to do just that. Little chunks taken out of him, but ultimately looking good. He will eventually be overwhelmed by just the sheer brute force of that CT side. In isolation, a plant is decent, but the game really getting away from them now.
Yeah, I mean, you could see how annoying that was for Dowie in that moment. Or Fleerax just not able to do much when he's committing to a plant and he's being shot at while players are jumping. You know, there's quite often conversations about A1S to A4, and, you know, now that they're the same price, it is largely preference, but especially on Dust2 with angles like that, you actually do want the A1S. The jumping accuracy is better, the running accuracy is better. In those types of moments where you're trying to create as much space as possible or limit the opportunities of your opponent, the A1S is surprisingly adaptable. That's a pretty desperate looking force. Couple Galils, tech, and only a couple AKs. Risky ball with that AWP already in the tunnels, but a wide swing from Dowie, and Sawali doesn't get his util out, so he just gets ran down by the tech. They have broken into B quite simply, but Lear clamoring back with a couple does allow Nemiga a chance back on this retake.
It's all about Fleerax. Moving in downstairs. Oh,
those smokes are going to lock them out.
Softly considering him, but yeah, forced into his hand. He takes one, and that, he knows, is decisive. TNL, probably the most important moment to do it, will put a stop to this Nemiga streak, and they will eliminate the entire team, and look what that does to the money.
Yeah, I mean, that's heartbreaking for Nemiga. They actually have the right pieces in the right position. I mean, an AWP trained on the upper tunnels to take first contact. They heard the util coming. They should have forecast how the hit was going to look like for TNL, but Risky Bob missing his opening shot. So while you're feeling a lot of pressure, just doesn't hit his, and wow, okay. Nice aggro peek there from Khan. AWP brought forward. They've got pistols alongside it. Risky Bob trying to create space, and between the pair of them, they come away with 3.
Big damage from nifee, but they needed that kill. TNL, man, as soon as they get back in, it seems to have crumbled. It was all a facade, the dream of the comeback. We'll see, in the hands of 2 players now that might just be able to wrestle it back. What is the game plan? Thinking and considering. Just going to wait patiently, see if anyone comes their way. Oh, crack there. The 5-7. The 5-7 behind. Yeah, he knew as soon as he revealed himself and put a bit too much pressure on. However, Khan comes through to help with a wall bang. That might just be enough. nifee left to do it all. Caught on the reload, surely. Caught on the reload, surely. They'll start to overwhelm the M4 now in the action, and down he will go. Man, what a blunderous round.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Khan. The entry's nice, but then also, between him and Risky Bob, just showing this urgency to not only deal with that player from middle, but then transition that into some lower aggression. TNL just get completely caught off. I mean, not only by the fact that there's an AWP when they're expecting probably a half buy or force buy in some capacity, but then just how willing Nemiga were to continue to apply pressure after they'd found an opener. Just glad Xanter's whiff didn't actually come back to bite them, because he's usually actually quite a sharp character. Don't often see players of that nature hesitate for as long as he did. Okay, yeah, playing ahead of the smokes over at long. Dowie and Onic combined for a couple of entries. Leo taking a lot of damage. Dowie does deal with him, and, well, nifee has also found the extremities push from Soalio. Risky has to run, but there's one player on B, and there's one on A, and nifee just holding a deep line from those B doors is able to find another round here for TNL. Another one of these desperate-looking buys strikes in with success.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. I mean, you know, again, they're able to just stay alive. They're going to break the back. How do you feel about this? They're going for the buy on the Nemiga side. So that puts a lot of pressure on these upcoming rounds. I mean, there would be anyway, I suppose. Yeah. But, like...
I mean, they're on 1 stage loss bonus, so...
Yeah, I guess. Try and even it out. Do something. But it's a hard call. It's a very, very hard call. And again, this comes from that point of believing in yourself as a player. So Walio's going to have to call upon some of that belief. He's somewhat isolated. The scout is in to help with a tag. But that is all it's really able to get, and he will fall far too quickly. So I think, yep, they are immediately backing off to save.
Yeah, trying to give themselves a fighting chance in a following round. So Alio needed something to break their pace somehow, whether that was a flash from a teammate or had he got the opening entry. Just create a little bit more time for Khan to come in on that rotate with the scout. But they didn't have the resources to spare. Didn't even realize that Khan had a flash, but I don't know if he picked that up on transition through spawn or if that was actually always in his possession. Either way, Soalio needed help, and TNL just simply overwhelm him as that sole B defender. Now, they are spreading out to hunt, but they actually shouldn't bridge too far, so these weapons can be carried over for Nemiga. This is a game that is forecast to go the full distance, if not overtime. Just based on the way that the economy is shaping out here for Nemiga.
Yeah, I mean, it's
they
pretty
don't lose
scary.
this round.
For sure. Yeah. I think there's a lot to really worry about, and perhaps an avenue, perhaps something creative, and that is indeed what they go for down in the lower tunnels. Unfortunately, again, placing their resources in the wrong place. How are they to know? And it will be Long that gets dominated. Are there any wacky kills on the way here from the CT side? So far, so good. Maybe a CT cross smoke could be cool here. Oh, there's a gap in it. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh,
That's filled out.
Yeah, that's a little dangerous for just a sec. But I think they will have perhaps, yeah, just survived the onslaught of spam. And the round will be theirs.
Am I crazy for thinking I don't mind if Xanter saves this FAMAS, but I actually kind of want Khan to go searching on the scout, because in the upcoming round, I think most would prefer having an M4. If he can get his hands on an AK, that would be nice. The scout will not be quite as fun.
Sometimes, you know, the scoped weapon.
Yeah.
In the right hands, but
it's weird to think that some of the best scout players, weirdly, are actually not even AWPers.
It's true.
You know, on the rare exception, you know, I mean, Exit Power.
Yeah.
James, Searson, Chris J. As much as I rue having to say his name in current year, he was pretty damn good on the scout.
Yeah. The rest of it, not so much.
Yeah.
But indeed. Yeah, no, I think it's a fair point, actually. The scope speeds, I guess, right? You just maybe have some people, the way that they play feels a bit better on the scout, whereas AWPers obviously get used to the AWP.
You're aiming at different things as well. You know, the AWP central mass, the scout's the head.
Quick timeout. Very quick timeout, it felt like. All to play for here. Nemiga really had some up and down times within this series. This would be absolutely heartbreaking. Maybe, arguably, to even let it get to overtime, but one step at a time. Onyx will be rewarded for his patience. The double AWP T-side setup does get a bit awkward now. Onyx low, so it's like, do you want Fleerax to get back on a rifle, or are you going to stick with 2 AWPs? Maybe. Oh. I guess you stick with 2 AWPs. He's on 1 HP not? From the nade as well, for goodness sake.
Onyx had limited impact this game as well, so a double kill with that AWP is massive.
Oh, the creep through the smoke, meanwhile. Soalio tries to do something from B, but in doing so, he has sacrificed a bit of the control. Somebody maybe has spotted that player. Yeah, this is really awkward. I don't think he's going to be able to find anything, though. There's just too many players.
They shouldn't consider this at all, though, so he actually can line up for more than just one here.
He doesn't realize it. He really doesn't realize it. Onto the AK, making a bit of noise now. Going to be known about. Clean headshot. Needed more than that from his first exchange, I think it feels like. So now he has to defy the odds. He seems also adamant that there's a player behind him. The smoke goes down. He's lost his window of opportunity, if you ask me. And they surely are just able to outweight him at the end of the day. Get into some nice angles. And it will be Onyx. Who else to close it out and take us to overtime? As you said, as you so rightly point out, 4 kills before that round. And I think none of them mattered, but all 3 of those potentially the biggest of the series.
Yeah, I mean, from the risk he took at the longhouse, sitting inside of the incendiary, which, you know, albeit is a tickle for the first few ticks, but for him to have stood steadfast and then still come away with the second kill afterwards, surviving on 1 health. I mean, yeah, you couldn't have asked for anything more. Fleerax as well. Another boost to mid. Khan trying to take that deeper line. There will be still 2 AWPs in the employment of Nemiga. Khan's been cycled out, and they're trying to aggro, but oh my god, they don't go for a double swing at the long doors, and the second player gets his head ripped clean off. It's Xanter to look for a trade around these doors, doing decent damage, but Lyrax has seen him escape, but as Xanter so quickly escaped, he also re-emerges, so he's playing games with the information of TNL.
While all this has been going down, though, there's a gap. There's a thread of the needle. And Dowie is in behind. He's got A control, but it's difficult. How do his teammates join him? The only way is if he gets this kill. He's trying to get a little more for his trouble. But there's not anybody around. So just going to have to wait patiently. The AWP has no idea. Could be a cheeky knife. But I indeed would think that that might be unnecessary given the hastiness of this, and you can see it just breaks down. The comm's not quite there. He doesn't fully know where he's at, so Sawalio also caught off. Onyx finds the final headshot, and he is woken up, it would seem. He's been asleep, and now maybe we are indeed playing a clean 5v5. All the same, really, really nicely done on that flank.
Yeah, I mean, the in-game leader, you know, in terms of fragging expectations, we don't necessarily have them set too high, but you're expecting some steady performances throughout the game. Yeah, some raw, unadulterated impact in the past couple of rounds. May have only been really that one kill, but that's all that was needed to unravel the Nemiga defense. Especially after Xanter made such a crazy play at long. Playing with fire. Khan jumping across from mid. Good HE down to the lower tunnels, though, from Lear.
Oh, good timing from Khan. Spots the leg, takes him down. But as I say, just as that smoke dissipates, so it's that window of opportunity where players maybe get a bit giddy for the peak. Dowie, again, trying to be the hero, but not this time. So a solid advantage for Nemiga that they should be able to work with. There is that lurking presence, and Knife gets the timing, but he doesn't land the all-important headshot. Smoke coming in will keep Leah alive. Risky Bob down below, also ready. So plenty of shenanigans attempted, none of them working here for TNL. Onyx, where's this been? Oh, man, and they start over-facing, thinking that the round is indeed secured. Plant coming in. They're very far away on the rotation, so this does not look too good. Ken in on the swing, takes down another, and it's all going to be on to Khan. He opened the round. Can he close it? Can he close it? He spotted them both out now. He's just going to have to win the heads-up fights, and he will indeed do it. Oh, the bailout from Khan.
A 5-on-2 in a flash made into a 2-on-2. I mean, some fantastic shooting there from TNL. But they knew where Khan was coming from. They had the information, and they decide to fight, and they get punished for their mistake. I mean, a beautiful 1v2 from Khan. If he didn't find that kill immediately on short, he gives ample opportunity for Onyx to reposition, play from safer angles if he so pleases, but once they committed to those duels, there was very few ways to back out other than finding Khan. They found out the hard way. He is not an easy man to put away. Still, it's been positive signs here for TNL on this attack. More activatable pieces. Some space over at long now at the start of this one, as well via Lyrax. But the spam from Sawalio is just tracking and tracing them straight through smokes. Xanter's found a double over at long. The undressing of the smoke. It's all coming up Nemiga in this round.
Onyx is all that remains. Doesn't really matter what he does unless he wins it. And he will be dinked before he even finds a single kill. So, you know, what do you do? What do you do?
It's going to be the craziest clutch we've ever seen.
Yeah, it would have to be. And I don't think they're going to let it happen. They've still got so much utility as well. Like, there's just no way. I can't see a single parameter that works for it. He's got the bomb. There you go. That's it. And I guess his gun does one tap. But these are serious copes.
Yeah, look at them playing a high-low setup on B as well.
There he is, and down he goes. So, the lead for Nemiga. I thought, you know, we get to the overtime, TNL get that first round. Oh, this could be a complete gas out from Nemiga, but not the case. And now, of course, the readjustment going to have to happen here for Team Next Level.
It felt like one of the few times that we've actually seen Nemiga go for simultaneous extremities plays. You know, lurk smoke B, as well as players trying to get out towards long. They were trying to create, you know, a potential rotation and make use of the open space. TNL were definitely caught off with how free long actually ended up being as well. But Nemiga did have their struggles on their own T side. See if they can adjust. Wow, the shot there from Onyx looked like it should have been on the money, but in fact, it's just the util that's doing all the damage. Now he tucks in at the car and does a good job of dealing with one, but Onyx now trapped at the back of the site, and Lear has found his kill alongside that presence in B. Onyx needs something, some support, some help, or at least a kill back, and Xanther just patient around that smoke. Help was cut off by Lear and his presence. So now a 2-on-4, where they're relying a lot on this flash play.
Where is Lear going? I guess. I suppose he's going to drop CT or something, but he's got to get a bit of a move on. Yeah, they will unfortunately not find anything on the site itself, so he's just kind of a security factor. A safety net. Either way, Nemiga going to move up to 15 first. TNL going to have to do it with their backs against the wall again. And man, what a ride it would be, you know? Like, there's still a lot of Counter-Strike on the horizon if this goes south for TNL. And at the moment, it looks like it is indeed going to go south.
Yeah, it would push us to Ancient as the decider. Which, given the way that this game has had its peaks and troughs for both teams involved, weren't sure we'd even get there. And now, 2 chances to close it out. See the double ult setup here for TNL once again. Onyx having impact with that in rounds gone by. I was really hoping he'd get more in the previous round. This will be a standard fight for mid-control. Knife taking some damage over at long, but as he's escaping, Fleerax takes the angle for the retreat and finds an opener. That was a consistent thing that TNL could rely on, was Fleerax finding a pick.
Lear looking to get one back. He's ahead of the utility here. Oh, the flash is good. The flash is good. It's an easy double for Dowie. And maybe an easy finish to the round here for TNL as well, if they put their heads together. I'm not really sure how Nemiga would get back in, but, you know, stranger things have happened in the world of Counter-Strike. Fleerax in behind, though. Keeping it simple. And it's just Soalia, I think they vaguely know. You can see him. Okay, never mind. They will clean up house. And a flawless one there for TNL.
Yeah, once again, just that AWPing presence is nothing to scoff at. I'm loving that both these teams, in kind of recognition of how static they've been and sometimes the punishment that they receive by playing more default inside the sites, has actually been trying to push boundaries over at that longhouse. We saw Nemiga do it on their CT side. TNL also toying with that idea. Then a lot of action in middle as well with the AWP head-to-head. This will be a 1-4 start here for TNL. Onyx on his solo adventures over on that B side. They do have to worry about the idea of fast mid presence from Nemiga, given that nobody was spotting it. But after the initial call, they do reset to a more standard approach. I have to be careful. Flash is coming over, and a smoke that will block him from receiving any support.
Yeah, not good. The trade is there, though. The trade is there. Khan, at the very least, trying to do as best he can. Oh, my goodness. Fleerax taken down. Drive-by is clean. They know where Ken is at as well. Surely going to drop here, and indeed he does. Not looking good. It's Onic and Dowie, those B defenders on the rotation to try and save the round here. Try and save the game. Bomb gets chucked across. So not much they can do to stop that. They're going to go in. It's minimal damage. I think about as minimal as it gets, to be honest.
Didn't even make it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't see the HP bar drop down. Here you go, he's got another one. Also didn't make it, so it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good here, guys, as they'll try and break back into the A-bomb site. Nemiga, 1 kill away from a third and final map. Onic going to have to do the impossible, and it absolutely is impossible. I've been around enough to know that. Down he will go. And man alive, in the overtime, Nemiga get it done. We've got Ancient to decide this series.
Yeah, I mean, a great fight back from Nemiga. There were definitely worrying signs on that first map on Mirage, but here on Dust2, they were playing more to their own tune, and I think they're just...
I think finding that consistency proves to be somewhat troublesome.
Yeah, especially when we start to rise through the level of competition that they're having to play. Like you said, they've been playing it quite a lot over the past few months, and one of the things that they've had the advantage of is that during that rise, they are playing teams of, you know, maybe a questionable caliber. Some with newer rosters that are looking to gain some ranking points, some that have always been a little turbulent within this kind of position that TNL are in. And so they have been able to find some easier wins, but as they've gone up against harder competition, those games have been closer and closer. And I'm not expecting it to really change against the Nemiga, who are within that same realm of pushing TNL close. But it will be our final map within the series. Nemiga starting on the T side of Ancient, and already loading themselves up with a couple of smokes and a couple of Molotovs set to be outside of A. Or B, sorry.
Maybe just waiting to see, yeah, if there's anything coming their way before they release the nades. I was going to say, but no, they're not actually paying as much attention as they really needed to be. Surely just one eyeball on ramp, sorry, to make sure that push doesn't come in. Kind of insane, but TNL and nifee in particular are going to get away with it.
Yeah, timing on that was perfect, because they had kept eyes on ramp for a little bit, and then it's that delayed push where nifee just slides in as they're about to deploy smokes from outside that B lane. I mean, fantastic shooting as well. nifee found his opener and didn't have a second one lined up, but just clotheslined the players that attempted to trade. I love when teams decide to be disruptive, and pistol rounds are certainly a great way to start that. It can be a double-edged sword. Had nifee gone down early or had that timing not been hit, could have blown up in their faces, but they're going to continue applying pressure to ramp, this time against the Glocks. Lear will find a trade after Onic finds 2. And they'll snag away that MP9. Dink onto Dowie immediately. Extra money for Risky Bob.
Yeah, they'll take that. Maybe one more on the cards, but not going to happen. So, nifee standing strong, continues to go flawless, I suppose. We'll see how long that lasts. But, yeah, the extra money might help out a little here. Nemiga onto the buy quite quickly, as you would expect on Ancient. I think a lot of teams like just getting the rifles out and trying to find a quick scrap. So, I'd be happy to see that from Nemiga if they indeed opt to push in for that first kill.
I'm expecting Onic to try and be a forward fighting force. Good HE onto Xanter, flash as well through to Cave, and Onic kind of lost within these smokes. Was loud about his approach, but the spam from Fleerax is right on the money. Lear was supposed to try and retain some of that lane control. Khan will at least answer back on one of those players trying to escape, and as another one flees, nifee taken down to 13 health.
Oh, Xanter, big find from him. Risky Bob in middle as well, also going to keep the kills coming in. There's a soft flank from Dowie, but he is being watched. Risky Bob doing great work here. The one big thing is that bomb is like miles away, so this is a really weird looking game state right now. Dowie, though, not going to be ready for Khan to be so deep in. He does check his angles,
yes, he is.
And he finds the headshot. So there you go. I wasn't familiar with the game. And Dowie with a good read here as well to move back towards A. I think he knows that, you know, why the hell has the bomb not been planted on B if this guy is super deep? And goodness me, he's got it perfectly. He's got it to a T. Surely now the kill on a silver platter, and it is indeed. I mean, he even makes the spray a bit harder than it needed to be, but he will clutch up.
What a perfect read on how that round was playing out. Knew he'd lost his B players, knew that they could have been in the bomb site, that they should have probably punched in a plant. Recognized that a player was coming back from all that forward pressure on B, and yet decided to fight from ledge and catch his teammate back at Donut. Just had a full understanding of what Nemiga's reactions were and why they were making it. That will be disappointing, though, for Nemiga. They got the kills they wanted. They fought back from a deficit, and it still doesn't pan out for them. They got read like a book.
They did. Absolutely. I mean, tough start into this one for sure. So, gonna have to bounce back quickly within what is a BO1 shootout here. No time for feeling sorry for yourself. Into the low by. As aggression comes down the ramp. Oh, Xanta, he was watching it for a while, but as soon as he looks away, of course, that is Counter-Strike at the end of the day. But so is that. Deagle finding 2. And Ken in a very precarious position here. Super risky. He gives his life away, gives the bomb site away, and surely with it, the round as well. I think he most certainly needed to drop back there and just gather their losses. But we'll see. Bomb not been planted yet.
Yeah, there was hesitation. And Lear will finally punch in that plant, but they're expecting that a rotate is likely coming out from a CT on the flank. They have not retained cave control. They know ramp is open. So Lear will tuck himself deeper inside of the site while his 2 teammates sit at long. Now, Dowie does have a smoke and a kit. Bomb radius is huge on Ancient. Should Dowie be undetected, uncleared for, and Nemiga just assume he's saving, he could slide in here. Here's their steps, running away. I think he is looking for a ninja. Now spotted, and so that will be his chances to call it quits. Dealt with. Nice spam from Lear. Timing is perfect. Echo locates him inside of cave. And Nemiga off of pistols. Just a buy around some upgrades. Completely stuffs team next level. That's what they get for being so aggressive down ramp so consistently. Again, I noted before, I love that teams will be willing to do that, but it is a double-edged sword. It can come back to bite you, and doing it against the force buy, well, Sawalio punished them massively for that double kill at ramp.
Well, we'll see if TNL have got a bit of it themselves, I suppose. Made with a tiny bit of damage. 5-7 up close. Not going to release a smoke just yet, actually. So being pretty conservative with the nades. Onyx sticks around in cave. Loses his life. So TNL playing a pretty confident game. Maybe verging on arrogant a couple of these moves, and they are being punished for them for sure. They know that Knife's got to be around with another smoke. He says hello. Here I am. Maybe he can get his hands onto the gun, but no, he's denied.
God, I thought he was going to get that kill onto Risky as well. I mean, he was descending the box as the 5-7 swung. It felt like he had a real fighting chance at that. And they do know that that rifle is retrievable inside of cave. They'll need to get access to it. Again, kills easy enough on the flank. Santer, good adjustment and good patience. Didn't panic, even if he didn't have his crosshair in the right place to start. Has the range advantage and makes use of it. So I think Flyrax may try and slide in to Cheetah and grab an AK, maybe capitalize on a player fleeing. But these are containment exit kills being lined up here for TNL. Nothing more than that.
Yes, indeed. Nemiga quickly closing the gap after some heartbreak. I suppose they dish out a bit themselves. should have another one on the horizon as well with the lack of cash for the CT side. So, kind of quietly looking forward to what this game has in store for us. I think Ancient's one of my favourite maps to cast, and has been for a while. So, hoping for some of those crazy openers.
There's just so many retakes on this map. There's a lot of aggression. There's a lot of fights. None of this, you know, only execs or constantly being out of position on push-pull rotations. You can get some parts of it, but yeah, this map is fun for aggressive players. And, well, here's some more aggression. Fleerax down bottom ramp actually comes away with a kill. And they wanted to crunch it, but the Molotov inside of Cave actually disrupts the pace. That was a molly ramp as well, but Fleerax did not care. It's purely committed to a B side stack. Now, Nemiga are still flirting with the idea of continuing B.
Yeah, might not be the move. Nifee is sneaking. Trying to get a 5-7.
Yeah.
Or maybe the... No, the player that got dropped is a bit too far away. So yeah, literally just the 5-7. I don't know, kind of wild. MP9 comes in, money made. But the round looks good. Only 2 people required to get all 5 there.
I'm pretty sure he dropped his USP far away so that he could pick up the 5-7 without making noise, but yeah, he had nothing, and couldn't find it. Oh, just like that. 3-3. Buy back in here for TNL, but Onyx is on an MP9, which shouldn't prove to be that much of a problem, given how aggressive TNL have been towards B lane. That being his primary position, instant smoke at the B doors, and look at the pace change here for Nemiga. They're actually beating past it. They're immediately up ramp. Lear's gotten a lot of space and finds the head of Nifee instantly. Onyx now trapped inside of Cave, but also behind a smoke, so cannot put up a contest on the site.
Bomb goes down. Man down here for TNL. Are they going to even go for it? And I think the answer is no. As we've got Fleerax in a saving position. The rest of the boys also trying to kind of get out here. You know, easier said than done sometimes. But they will just about make it away. So, somewhat anticlimactic round, to be honest. But definitely the finish to it as well. Nemiga going through the motions and looking very good while doing so. Simple stuff here, but really paying off. TNL have lost some of their spark, it feels like. Through the fire. They might all go down to the bomb here, actually. Yeah, that's hella close. Lots of damage. Lots and lots of damage.
It's just not very consequential, is the problem. Nemiga have been able to build money in these past few rounds in their winning ways that they've got more than enough in the back pocket. You know, at times you can say that those exits will matter, but again, some of it is conditional on finding success. And sure, it can tee you up later and deeper into the game. You know, they wouldn't have wanted Nemiga to continue building cash, for example, but TNL also had 4 weapons that could have been very valuable coming into this round. So there are pros and cons to the approach they made. They'll need one of these half buys or their next gun round to see success. Otherwise, this half gets completely out of control. Well, they made extra sure that nobody was inside of Donut. 3 Molotovs used by Nemiga.
Sawalio ready to go on the entry. Oh, nearly losing his head, but thankfully outside of that 1-tap range. Xanta, meanwhile, through the smoke. I think not expecting to find anything, but he does get a kill.
That's a bad kill to give away, actually. I mean, they were fairly convinced that Nemiga were going to be almost funneled into this A-bomb site, but now that Xanta's found a freebie on ramp, they know about at least 2 players on that A-bomb site, and so, yeah, they'll be fleet-footed to actually rotate to B. Now, the CTs are arriving in time, but Nemiga will know that they've not exactly sprung in very quickly, and that TNL could have made an adaptation.
This gets a little weird in the final 20 seconds. Ken's mollied off, but not really scared off. However, it's the kills at top ramp that are nice and clean. He gets his, but there's nobody to back him. And so Nemiga will start edging ahead now. 5 rounds to the good. And we'll see if they can continue this streak.
Yeah, just good understanding, I think, there from Nemiga. Kept themselves on guard, didn't think that they were beating a timing whatsoever, and just went for an execute where they are expecting all 3 players of TNL. This Oppa Fleerax, though, has to be the difference maker. We haven't seen him in... I mean, we've had maybe one opportunity where he might have had it, but we need to see that impact. It was a big factor on Dust2 in making the game close. Ooh, it's an ugly fight there for Dowie. Just spots a player and gets flashed up.
Dangerous here in the next few moments. Fleerax on the back end of the smoke can't spot them. They're not coming his way. It is mid that has the biggest gap available, and it is mid that's going to get somewhat abused. I don't think one man watching from far away will necessarily be enough. The bomb, again, though, is just nowhere to be seen. So, like, are we following up? Are we splitting A? What's going on? Khan a little asleep at the wheel. The shadow spotted late, and he will go down. So it's swung. It has swung. TNL now with the advantage.
That's very weird. They have to push ramp here. They know that they can be pressured from behind. Nice kill from Karen. You see nifee trying to account for it. He's the low health player, and so more willing to be fed to the wolves. Finds his kill onto Xanter. Player was already low. And Risky will try and isolate a duel, but Onyx will win his 4th round here for TNL. And it comes off the back of some solid openers, just dealing with the forward play of Nemiga through Red Room. Exceptional work from nifee. I mean, kept eyes on Red, understood that at a certain health, he actually couldn't continue to fight. He's down to 14 HP, and so kind of calls a reaction for his teammates to make, and they deliver.
Yes, sir. We'll see if they can keep delivering, I suppose. It is important that they do so. Big utility damage here across the board. The kill comes in for Ken, and Lear's left low, so this is a very good-looking round if Ken can survive just a little longer. It's actually Dowie that goes down, and now maybe we're in jeopardy. Khan getting a 1-for-1. It is never as clear-cut as it seems. Again, this bomb is left behind the action, so they can't necessarily spring onto a bomb site. So they have to pull the plug and take it a little slower.
The TNL will know that there's massive areas of the map that are left exposed. The player could have actually slid into red on, I think, an off-timing Fleerax. Rather, Karen is hoping that he has kept that at least as a consideration. They go back to re-clear it, but nifee's alone on this side of the map. Timing's good. Catches a player with a Molotov in hand, but doesn't capitalize on the frag. That was Lear on his low HP. So they have the space to plant should they so want, but they want to push forward into long, and they find both. A quick collection here for Nemiga, and now an open sight. Karen too low, and with an AWP in hand, he will likely save. Slow and steady here for Nemiga.
Yeah, it really is just very, very drawn out, and I think a war of attrition, a war of impatience and expectations and just constantly being on edge. And you can see it sometimes in the TNL mechanics, you know what I mean? Like, they just are failing a few of the shots. Ken, looking to live it. Will he be able to do that, I suppose, is the big question. Left low and finished, so no, he can't take the AWP, and pretty important that he survives, actually.
Yeah,
and maybe would have gotten a bit further away.
I really don't understand why he even went for that. After getting his first kill for free, he should have immediately tucked tail and run to spawn, almost. He can't have known that they were all going to save in the same position. I suppose that's the out I'll give him. If he ran through spawn, there was somebody elbow, for example. He just looks a little silly, but Yeah, having that up would have been nice. You see Fleerax buying into it, but doesn't have armor or any util that can help out on these rotates. He has not had the same impact as he did in maps prior. Dowie already dealt with so rapidly. And the early HE of Xanter and some of the spam has already been very successful. Xanter even challenging Fleerax, holding a deeper line. You can understand why. Nemiga have been very slow-paced about the way they've been working this map. And why wouldn't you be? TNL have been so aggressive in rounds gone by.
Honic. Oh my god, you're joking. The timing is insane. He will get dropped, and I'm feeling less and less confident in the B hit here, Nemiga. But again, they've still got a minute in the round, so they are looking to continue drawing things out.
Oh.
Fleerax with a nice catch. That's going to be the bomb hitting the deck, so now Nemiga have lost control of proceedings. Ken with a messy one. Knife also. He's done so much damage. The spam finishes him off. And the AWP of Fleerax trained in and true for his 4th.
Well, I said he wasn't having a lot of impact, and sure enough, it's a glass cannon that finally strikes through. Was on 4 kills prior and finds 4 in that one round. And now Nemiga's money is teetering on the edge. They can still get rifles together, so Walio can drop an AK over. They should be able to get every rifle they need, but the likeliness of them bringing an AWP forward is incredibly low. This doesn't seem to be a tactical timeout. It seems to be a minor technical. Give a lot of time for both sides to manage their funds. Because that was kind of a last stand buy from TNL. Should they have failed there, this round would not have been so well equipped. You can see Onyx is kind of resourceless, but has utility you can pick up inside of spawn.
Yeah, should be okay.
I think he's actually leaving. I want to say he's leaving the grenades in spawn for his team, because he's probably going to be very aggro with this MP9.
Maybe just bored in the timeout as well, you know. But yeah, you might be onto something.
How dare he?
It just looks like he's about to run over them. But we're going to find out. Oh, okay. The last minute switch up. Cheers, mate. Incredible.
Fake you out.
Yeah, he did. He really did. Just for me, all that. But you were right. He's getting super aggressive in towards A main. So a little bit to nuance, but it indeed can all have an impact.
Okay, well, that is incredibly impactful. They try and take contact ramp, and Care just finds head after head. Dowie and Knife combine with him, and that round is over in the blink of an eye. 6-6 at the turn of the half in our decider map. We'll see how things go in that second half.
So here we are. It all comes down to this. Nemiga up against TNL. Once again on Ancient seems to be a trend the past few games that I have casted. That Ancient is the deciding map, the deciding factor. And we'll see. Nemiga, I think, could have squeezed out a couple more rounds. I think they'll know that as well. But, you know, a neutral game of 6-6 is nothing to be sad about.
Yeah, TNL seem to have a similar plan to what Nemiga were trying to pull off in their own pistol, but they actually will be able to get their util out. It's actually a smoke to cave as well as short, and they're met by one at ramp, so they actually can't make use of the exec they had planned. They do not fancy running through this smoke, and so they'll start to pressure Xanter's position, but as they run in, it's the dualies that find the first. Risky to trade right back, and TNL are looking to pump right back into this B bomb site.
Very well disciplined from him as well to take the first kill and run back. You know, just trying to play the bait position. Oh. Not going to work, though. Maybe nerf the Glock jumping accuracy. Onyx changes guns up as well, so he can do it all right now. Big two-piece from him to give TNL number 7.
Yeah, it's surprising that it blows up in that manner. I mean, Nemiga had more than enough pieces to actually lock down a potential rotate from TNL. I mean, the fact that Xanter is alone with those dualies, and his support is arriving just a little bit late, is confusing, because they'd locked them out of that B side, and even if TNL ran past that smoke, they had 4 players that could have defended. Locking down cave is a big part of retakes very often. Anyway, very well managed from TNL, and against the USPs, Karen will farm. 3 kills with that MAC-10, and the sidearm will collect on another.
Risky Bob. More like Sneaky Bob right now. Tap on the Bob. Oh, more like Disconnected Bob. What the hell? Where is he?
I thought after the tap he'd, you know, peek out or do something.
Yeah,
but
yeah. He was just like, they can't see me. I am hidden.
Yeah, they'll never check this position.
Yeah. Incredible work. Well, you know, no harm, no foul. Don't think he would have found anything even if he did pay attention to his surroundings. Alright, we'll see. A very strong bonus buy here from TNL.
Till starts out well here for Nemiga. The early HE to lane. That's about 50 damage. Well, it's definitely more than that. 60. My math is slowly tallying up. 70 odd.
All good. You took the risk. I know in the back of your mind, also being a commentator, journeyman.
It's like, why did I do it? But, you know, it's fine.
When you think about doing maths, then you're like, oh, I did the little panic, be like, it'd be fine. You know, I know numbers. And then you doubt yourself. You know, it's just a whole mental gymnastics. I don't think other people that don't work on camera, you know, work on a live broadcast will understand, ever.
And that's one of those game show specialists that we have in the UK where they're just so good at instant maths. That's not actually what our strong suit is supposed to be. Liking the way that TNL are approaching this map, though. I mean, they've taken B lane control, they've slid into red, and Karen has dealt with the aggression of Xanter down ramp as well. Look at the complete absence of control or consideration of that red room angle. TNL just find players across the map and have secured their way into a 9th round, so Alio is completely disconnected from any chances at B. Ooh, what is this? Why they have all run away from Soalio's position. They've effectively left the entire site in control of Fleerax.
Yeah,
and Soalio actually given it a solid swing. Things could have been very weird.
It's a 1v3, man. You know, he's definitely saving. Yeah, super risky, but in this kind of situation, it pays off. I wouldn't necessarily do that in your pug games, guys, because that's how you get injured. Either way, he will go down. So, 9-6. TNL steamrolling ahead right now.
Yeah, these rounds have actually just not been very dramatic at all. You know, you consider what TNL were doing with the force buys, and you know, the biggest boon that they had on that CT side was really just how aggressive they were continually being to B lane. You noted a couple of times Nemiga had the bomb trapped outside the B doors, but that's because Nemiga were losing 1 or 2 players very frequently on their defaults, and actually just didn't have the sort of room necessary to move from default into setup for an exec. Nifee being very aggro towards ramp. They're trying to pick up the pace here on the side of Team Next Level, but a smoke breaching into bottom side ramp, and Lear has found the player in cave. And as they make it past the smoke, they will notice that there's a lot of room to be gained on the site itself, and they'll make use of those smokes while they're up.
Bit of spam across. Tiny bits of damage done. The Pistols, I think, just looking to overwhelm if they are to have a chance here. And I respect that they are sticking around and going for it. You know, there's bits of armor in here that could be saved, but these guys are feeling good. Don't have loads of time. Smoke is not perfect either, to be honest. But here we are. The trades are in. Someone needs to get on the bomb in like the next couple of seconds. Not going to happen. But they do take some names with them, which could be important. But again, loads of cash for TNL right now.
And Nemiga are struggling to find solutions. AWP now out for Khan. He is currently 2-13. So if we're going to see improvements to Nemiga, hoping it starts there. A Khan, a player that felt like he overperformed at the major. Maybe more of a LAN player than one that's online, but can be feast or famine. The 1-for-2 exchange in middle, Nemiga coming out better for those exchanges. But TNL have now created some room for themselves inside of mid, even if it comes at heavy losses. Wow, great nade. Jumps right into it.
Yeah, you hear that nade bounce sound. A lot of players, you know, try and get away from it. Sometimes actually would be better to just stand still. It's unrealized damage, though, is the only thing. So TNL are going to play a flat 4-on-3. Which I think is... Ooh, easier said than done.
The timing looks good here for Onyx, though.
Possibly. They've just lost Nifee. It's kind of what screws him a little bit. But it could give them A-site control. You can see as well, Khan on your minimap, he's checking CT, checking Red Room, checking CT. So, yeah, there you go. Onyx actually played it quite well to find an important player. They've got to know there's a guy in Donut.
Yeah, they've got to smoke for it.
Yeah, they're all good. Bomb plant going to come in. And then into the retake. No kit available here for the CT side, so it is dicey for sure. What is their game plan? It's actually to go through the smoke and try and overwhelm this Donut player. It works, but there's a lot of damage done, and the info will come in. I'm a fan of the idea, but maybe just a conventional A main setup could have done a little better for them.
Yeah, they didn't even need to necessarily fight for A main. I mean, Onyx was still Temple side as well. He could have fought from that position. You know, the actual planter had very few places to go, unfortunately, so he almost necessarily had to fight within default or into Donut. Actually, given where it was planted, playing from Donut just wasn't a real play at all, because it was kind of planted in the furthest corner. If they jumped on the defuse from A main side, you actually just wouldn't see the CTs. So it gets a bit hectic. They were fighting from a deficit, so what little they could pull out of that round, they did. We're down to 2 surviving members here for Nemiga, which will keep their money at bay. And of course, a minor technical timeout. As we should await a round restart. I think everyone's actually here.
I believe so, yeah. Looks good to me. So maybe something that's a little more out of Counter-Strike. It has been a long series, you know. We do get the human tech timeouts, if you catch my drift.
Mm-hmm. You know what's really quite interesting to me is that, you know, coming into this season, obviously there's been quite a lot of roster moves. You know, we've been looking at a lot of the tier 1 scene, and we've been seeing effectively the same matchups between the top 10 for quite some time, and there's going to be some moves that happen there. You know, G2 is obviously one that's sided. Spirit have made one as well, and there's a lot of moving pieces. But the tier 2 circuit, as much as there are teams that are trying to rise through the rankings, they're often the ones that are going to get picked to pieces. And so, you know, Nemiga obviously one of those teams that, you know, at the start of this year, if you had put this particular head-to-head in front of me, Nemiga are massive favorites. But now with the way that they're having to adapt the roles, the expectations of their players, I wouldn't be surprised to see Nemiga capitulate. They've been doing a great job to make it as far as they already have within this qualifier, but I think there's also a lot of teams within this qualifier that are in similar positions where they're either trying to make a roster move that fixes an issue that they've been having, or they're having to compensate for losing a player that's maybe been poached by another team within the circuit. TNL, in a weird way, have the luxury of having players that they've had since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it does seem to maybe have allowed them to like slip through the cracks a little bit and move up the rankings slowly but surely. You know, outside of like 18 months ago, I don't think many people would have heard of these players. And here they are competing pretty cleanly for a spot at Pro League and working their way up towards the top 30. At least on the HLTV rankings there. All the same, slow start into this round, minute in, and not really an awful lot of presence from either side.
You just don't have a lot of resources here on the side of Nemiga either. And you won't feel comfortable holding onto a bomb site if you can't stall them with a smoke or a Molotov. So they may actually be incentivized in the next 10-15 seconds to try and press the issue and get an idea of where TNL are headed. It's a good blocking smoke inside the front of cave, though.
Not a lot of options for this T side. They're just going to go charging up the ramp and hope that the shots land. Decent nadage here. Nemiga hiding away, giving them a lot of space, and maybe too much space, you might argue. Lear, they've got to know about him. Clean from knife on the entries. 20th kill of the game, and 11th round of the game here for TNL as well. That's really in the danger zone.
Yeah, that may just be the knockout punch. And that's why I thought Nemiga would have to press the issue. I mean, they have 2 smokes. They use one to block out cave, but you just watch, from TNL's point of view, them just going through the motions on the exec. They never have to really worry about dodging flashes. They're not getting incendiary. There's no HEs landing at their feet. There's nothing to make these fights awkward or for them to feel uncomfortable. It almost kind of just looks like a dry run strategy just because of the amount of room that Nemiga had to give them, given that they opted for a passive setup. CS2 is the era of being proactive. And, you know, there were certain moments where teams like Mouse or Heroic, you know, the Shuhei-led Mouse and the Cadian-led Heroic, where that proactive style was a little bit more niche. A lot of teams adopted it. It kind of fell out of favor a little bit as well, favoring more just aggression at the opening segments of rounds on CT sides. But we're now finding ourselves back into this balance where, especially in the tier 2 meta, a lot of it does come off of, you know, where are your opponents? How do you read the map? And is there space to take that as a CT you can double up and hunt for trades or information? That has been a major kind of stopping point for some teams that if they're unable to make those types of styles work, usually they are a lot more on the pacey side on their T-side aggression, are very fast to react on trades, but Nemiga have been anything but.
Can't trade up for the first kill. But again, it looks to be a heavy B play from TNL. Settled behind. Ready to break in. Tip the tat on nades. There's a little more A presence than you might expect out from Nemiga, actually. So are they going to do something with that? Is there some aggression to come in? It looks like they're boosting over there at the moment. So perhaps confidently going to leave that player alone. Advanced cave position here. So Nemiga definitely trying something a little different. Whether it pays off for them is another question. They've abandoned up mid now. Could get a bit scary. Small jump peak coming in. The spam is good, though. It's 2 players in there, of course. Molotov round. Dowie chimes in. Maybe we're back on for TNL. A nice little trade on that exchange.
That was like Shadow Clone Jutsu. I mean, Lear and Xanter had the exact same thought process from the spams to how they were going to retreat, and not both of them makes it. So they're going to be happy that they even managed out 1-for-1, given that they got shot through a wall. But 35 seconds remain here for TNL. And with that mounting pressure on B, the lack of success in holding it for Nemiga, there's only going to be one player that makes that rotate and risky bob to help reinforce this A-bomb site. Between him and Sawalio, boosted on tree. Wow, the read is
a little bit more.
It's on point, though. I mean, they look immediately to that spot.
Yeah, I think they're ready in terms of how the setup is. Khan landing the tag. Nade over the top. Doesn't find the kill. Again, minimal damage. The HGs sometimes have been difficult to work with. Stacked on top of each other here against the AWP. The double swing comes in, and TNL, yeah, just looking so well put together here. They will continue, not necessarily defying the odds, but just having that extra 10% to get them over the line in these rounds.
Yeah, they play safe, and then they lose the round. It just, I feel like it's almost rinse repeat. Sure, the ends are slightly different. I actually kind of rated the positional changes for Nemiga and how they're approaching that A-bomb site. There was more than a few times where Khan was just solo A with an AWP in spawn and a player donut. They tried to shift that around given the weapons they had, but TNL are effectively in flow state. They knew that A main was exposed and a problem for them should they come to that late round plant, but the fact they honed in on tree so rapidly, I mean, a laser focus here for TNL to make it into that grand final. Khan has just also been so unimportant on this AWP, which is a shame to see, given that they've invested into it a number of times. And now this will be the most important round for it, because they've justified that purchase for him again. He has to actually reap the rewards.
Bit of aggression. No one spotted. But TNL, their patience might just pay off. Lear has to get this right. He has to get this perfect. Smoke goes down. Surely got to call for a rotation. Or at the very least, you know, this heavy presence on A, on mid. They've got to do something with it. But they will at least rotate one around. TNL, plenty of util to go at here as well.
You can see them just clamoring straight to that B bomb site. There's been no real signs of commitment. The tag and the frag in at ramp. Knife collecting and looking to press that issue. Finds Xanter playing the edges of cave entrance. And Onyx will take a dink right back, but there's mounting pressure elsewhere. Ken running through the Molotov and does get overpowered by these SMGs. Flea racks and AWP shot missed. And maybe getting a bit too big for their boots. TNL taking some massive risks and simply not being rewarded. It's a Lear 4K that capitalizes. Nemiga are still in it.
Just about. Just about. It looked pretty good, you know, parameters-wise, with all that utility. But as you say, just charging them down and, yeah, some desperate moves for a team that doesn't have to be desperate. Plenty of time, plenty of rounds to close this one out. So, you know, no need to sway the odds against yourself. But we'll see here. This is often the return round situation that can be harder to deal with. Mid-control. TNL with something a bit new.
just catching the edge of them above the smoke. Finally, some aggression from Nemiga, but it's the perfect counter from nifee and the deletion of Khan. He has been absent. He has been negated. And constantly hitting the deck here in this game could not spur anything on with that AWP. Risky will miss. A 1-on-5 seems impossible. The tag is there, but TNL, Team Next Level, find it in 3.
Really, really solid stuff from them. They will move through to that grand final tomorrow evening. Going to be playing for a spot at Season 22 of ESL Pro League, but my good